Welcome to Oxford News This Week. I'm Elgin Nichols.
And I'm Terry Stiles. In this week's news, Beaumont's application disapproved by the state, robotics team upgrades students' chill-out chair, and Oxford Township rejects allocating $500,000 for a safety path.
Stay tuned. Learn more about these stories and others. The Oxford News begins right now. The Michigan Department of Health and Human Services disapproved of William Beaumont Hospital in Oxford. Beaumont wanted to build a $140 million, 225,000 square foot hospital in Oxford Township. A lack of population within the building area within 30 minutes drive time of the proposed hospital site was cited by the state as the reason for the denial. According to the letter, a hearing may be requested on this proposed decision, but the request must be within 15 days. If a hearing is not requested, a final decision is issued by the Michigan Department of Health Director. If a hearing is requested, it must begin within 90 days, unless waived by the applicant. The final decision is issued by the Department of Health Director. Oxford Township Trustee and Planning Commissioner Jack Curtis said the hospital plans to appeal the decision.
The Oxford Township Board voted down a motion to allocate nearly $500,000 for construction of a safety path along the south side of Seymour Lake Road from Dunlap Road to Sanders. The motion failed in a 4-2 vote due to budget concerns. Officials first wanted to ensure funds are available for the project. Voting in favor of the proposal was Treasurer Joe Ferrari, who chairs the Safety Path Committee, and Trustee Jack Curtis. Supervisor Bill Dunn was absent.
Gavin Lowry can be seen rolling through the hallways of Oxford Middle School in his upgraded set of wheels thanks to the Oxford robotics team. At 4 years old, Gavin was diagnosed with mitochondrial disease, which is an incurable progressive genetic disorder. While Gavin can walk short distances with assistance, it takes up a lot of valuable energy. Oxford Robotics K-8 treasurer and WildBots coach Shannon Sutton came across a post sharing an article about a robotics team from a different state who developed a bike for a special needs individual in their community. Sutton immediately reached out to Gavin's mom, Brandy, and said, let's see if the robotics kids can do something to help you and Gavin. With this newly found independence, Gavin has enjoyed middle school when he is feeling well enough to go.
The Oxford Fire Department was recently awarded a nearly $200,000 grant from the Assistance to Firefighters Grant Program, which is a FEMA program. Oxford will use $15,000 to purchase 2 new exhaust removal systems to replace the existing ones at both stations. Chief Pete Schultz said the current systems are getting too old to do the job. The system at station number 2 has been used since 2001, while the equipment at station number 1 has been operating since 2002. Fire Captain Ron Jalas, who's currently on medical leave, wrote the successful grant program. Thank you for doing so.
Beehive Homes of Oxford is holding a grand opening celebration on Friday, October 11th, and the public is invited to check out the newest assisted living community. Beehive Homes of Oxford provides residential care for people who have memory care needs. The grand opening celebration will run from 11:30 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. and include pumpkin painting, a bounce house, live music, food and beverages, door prizes, and much, much more. Visitors will be able to tour the congregate-style home.
Last week, during a short special meeting, the Township Board set its millage rates and approved its budget for next year. The good news is all of the property tax rates, which include levied in December, are slightly lower than this year's millage rates due to rollbacks required by the State Headley Amendment. Officials set the Township's operating tax at just over 0.9 mils. The Oxford Township operating millage helps support the general fund budget, which was approved at just over $2.5 million. It's projected the operating millage will generate over $800,000 for the Township General Fund. Receives most of its revenue from the state sources, which includes Michigan revenue sharing programs. Next year, Oxford is projected to receive just over $1.4 million from the state. Wow, that's a lot of money.
It sure is.
And that's why they're doing so well. And they manage their money well, and that township board, you included, are doing a really good job at keeping an eye on what's going on out there.
I have to say, they're well prepared, no
Yeah,
question about
that's
that.
no doubt,
And
yep.
Works with the treasurer as well.
Yep.
You know, he does a great job with the finances. I want to remind, being we're talking about the township, is that there is an election coming up for you folks
I
out
was
there.
just going to ask.
It's going to be November 5th, so you want to put it on your calendar. There's only one item on the ballot, and that would be Oakland College. And they're asking
the
for a
university.
renewal of the millage. That's
Oh,
all.
okay.
They're not
They
asking
just want
for an
it renewed.
increase.
Mhm.
Yep.
So what about the township trustees? When are their seats, their terms up? Is that next year in
That's
the
next
2020
year.
election?
Mhm. Yeah,
Okay,
that'll be
yeah.
during the 2020
Okay.
election. So
Uh-huh.
if you folks don't like what we're doing, then is the time to replace us.
Well, so I'm going to just touch on that. You're saying if you folks don't like what we're doing. If you folks don't like what we're doing, you have the opportunity to let us know. We are doing a community-wide survey. You will find us at football games, any event that's going on in town, except for the cemetery event that's coming that we would have had on Sunday. But Charter is asking us to do a needs assessment in order to maybe give us additional funding because our franchise fees will be rolled back. So this needs assessment it's quick, it's 6 questions. You can pick one up at the village office in Oxford, the township office in Oxford, the Oxford Parks and Recs, or Addison Township office. Pick one up, and don't even pick it up, just stand right there, fill it out, 6 questions, and hand it to who's ever at that desk where they're placed. Unfortunately, in the village, it's not at the village desk, it's at a table, I think, in the hallway. Please take it and let us know whether you want us here or not. I'm always amazed when we're talking to people, they're like, heck yes, we want you here. It'd be nice to get that kind of support from the officials. I don't know that they know how many people in their community really want us here. So this survey is going to do all of us a lot of good, whether you want us here or not. So anyhow.
Yep, you folks can have your say out there. And by the way, we don't go to the cemetery because those people that are there, they don't respond
They're
too
pretty
well.
quiet.
But we want you to respond. Don't forget.
But I do hope that the cemetery tour went well for Mr. Latola. Jim Latola puts that on every year, and I hope it went well.
Yep, he's a great community activist. He does a good job.
Golly, he's such a historian. Anyhow, that's it for Oxford News this week. If you'd like to learn more about these stories or others, you can certainly pick up a copy of the Oxford Leader newspaper. Better yet, catch us on our website, which is occtv.org, on YouTube, and of course our regular cable channel, Spectrum, channel 191, and AT&T channel 99.
Coming up soon, OCTVs, I almost spit that one out. Our very own Cody Wright with School Sports and Schooling Around, incorporating great topics with Alexis Ware. And you won't want to miss Auto Talk and Science in the News with Dave Kenny.
And that's Alexis at School News. I'm Terry Stiles. Thanks for watching Oxford News this week, where we bring your news closer to home.
And I'm Elgin Nichols. Remember, always be fine.
Be kind to your neighbors,
friends
and thanks
neighbors.
for watching.
Yeah, thank you. I really gobbled that one, but stay tuned.
Welcome to Science in the News. I'm Dave Kenny, and these stories are taken from the publication New Scientist. In our first story, tea drinkers have been urged to avoid plastic tea bags after tests found that a single bag sheds billions of particles of microplastic into each cup. A Canadian team found that steeping a plastic tea bag at a brewing temperature of 95 degrees Celsius releases about 11.6 billion microplastics, tiny pieces of plastic between 100 nanometers and 5 millimeters in size, into a single cup. That is several orders of magnitude higher than other foods and drinks. We think that it is a lot when compared to other foods that contain microplastics, says Nathalie Terfinkie at McGill University. Table salt, which has a relatively high microplastic content, has been reported to contain about 0.005 micrograms of plastic per gram of salt. A cup of tea contains thousands of times greater mass of plastic at 16 micrograms per cup. Terfinkie's team brought 4 different tea bags from shops and cafes in Montreal, cut them open and washed them, steeped them at 95 degrees Celsius water, and analyzed the water with electron microscopes and spectroscopy. A control of uncut tea bags were used to check if it wasn't cutting that may cause the leaching of microplastics. While microplastics are increasingly found in drinking water, the World Health Organization says there is no evidence of a health risk for humans. To test the potential toxicity of the particles released by plastic tea bags, Terfinkie and her colleagues exposed water fleas to contaminated water. The particles did not kill the water fleas, but did cause significant behavioral effects and developmental malformations, she says. However, she says that more research is needed to understand possible health impacts on humans. In the meantime, Terfinkie suggests New Scientist readers avoid plastic tea bags. Tea can be purchased in paper tea bags or in loose-leaf tea, which eliminates the need for the single-use plastic packaging, she says. Wow. In our next story, an electric patch makes hairless mice grow fur and may reverse balding in men when fitted inside specially designed baseball cap. At the moment, men who don't want to go bald can treat their hair loss using minoxidil lotion, finasteride pills, or hair transplant surgery. But minoxidil doesn't work for everyone, and finasteride can reduce sex drive and fertility, and surgery is painful and expensive. Stimulating the scalp with electric pulses also has been shown to restore hair growth. However, it isn't a very practical treatment because it involves being hooked up to a machine or battery pack for several hours a day. To overcome this hurdle, Xiongdong Wang at the University of Wisconsin-Madison and his colleagues have developed a wireless patch that sticks to the scalp and generates electric pulses by harnessing energy from random body movements. The 1 millimeter thick plastic patch contains layers of differently charged materials that produce electricity when they come in contact and separate again, a phenomenon known as the triboelectric effect. When the flexible patch was attached to the backs of rats, their movements caused it to bend and stretch, activating the triboelectric effect. The resulting electric pulses stimulated faster hair regrowth in shaved areas compared with minoxidil lotion and inert saline solution. Next, Wang's team tested the patch on mice that were hairless because of a genetic deficiency in hair growth factors. After 9 days, 2 millimeter long fur grew on the skin under the patch, whereas only 1 millimeter long hair grew on adjacent skin areas treated with minoxidil and saline solution. Hair density was also 3 times greater for the patch-treated areas than those treated with minoxidil and saline. Studying the skin of the mice under a microscope revealed that the patch seemed to work by stimulating the release of natural chemicals that encourage hair growth, such as keratinocyte growth factor and vascular endothelial growth factor. Wang also tested the patch on his father, who has been going bald for the past few years. It helped him to grow a lot of new hairs after 1 month, Wang says. His team has now designed a baseball cap that encases the whole scalp in the triboelectric materials to stimulate hair growth and is seeking approval to test it in men in a clinical treatment. Wang is confident it will work because hairless mice are considered good models of male balding. It shouldn't be uncomfortable to wear because it produces very gentle electric pulses, he says. However, the hat will only work in men who are currently losing their hair or have recently become bald because the skin loses its ability to generate new hair follicles after many years of baldness, Wang says. The hat is also unlikely to work well when men sleep because they won't produce as many movements to power the device. Wang thinks that wearing it for a few hours per day should be sufficient to get results, and it was too late for me. Well, that's it for this edition of Science in the News. I'm Dave Kenny. Stay tuned to Oxford Community Television.
Hello everyone and welcome back to School News. Last week was a festive homecoming weekend for the Oxford Wildcats. All last week the district participated in events like tie-dye color run t-shirts, crazy hair day, movie-themed outfits, and more for their Spirit weekdays. Friday kicked off homecoming weekend with the annual homecoming parade and game after. The parade took place in town and ended up Gillespie Street. To see the entire homecoming parade and game against Rochester Hills Stony Creek, stay tuned to Oxford Community Television Facebook and YouTube pages, as well as our local cable channel Spectrum 191 and AT&T Channel 99. And let's not forget our website at occtv.org. SAD Club, Students Against Distracted Driving, brought in Pierce Foundation last week for a distracted driving education simulator. Pierce Foundation is a Grand Rapids-based project focused on empowering young people with the knowledge of building a healthy and successful life in interactive ways. Their ARDDES program is traveling all over the United States and is sponsored by State Farm. The high school is making headlines consistently this year. Robotics students from Oxford High School heard about Gavin Laurie of Oxford Middle School and his diagnosis of mitochondrial disease. Laurie was diagnosed at the age of 4 and began using what is known as his chill-out chair since the 1st grade. His main source of transportation has been his chair, which at the time was not motorized. Thanks to the students of OHS, Gavin has a new motorized comfy chill chair to get around in. Oxford students are praised at the September 24th Board of Education meeting for their MSTEP and MME test scores. Ken Weaver, Deputy Superintendent of Curriculum and Instruction, stated that the students performed above state average in English, math, and social studies, while falling below the county average in a few areas. Weaver credited the district's teachers, principals, and reading specialists as why the students performed so well. In the theme of test scores and reading, Lakeville Elementary School has gotten extra help lately with their reading and literacy skills. Due to the state of Michigan law, Read by Grade 3, which states that all students must take a literacy assignment within the first month of kindergarten and 3rd grade. Students who fall 1 or more grade levels behind a 3rd grade reading level after taking the Michigan Student Test of Educational Progress, otherwise known as MSTEP testing, may repeat the 3rd grade. This is why Oxford resident Kimberly Donnelly took up the Literacy Club to help the students of Lakeville Elementary who were falling behind. Donnelly's goal is to get 50 additional mentors to commit to the club. If you're interested in becoming a mentor and helping the students of Lakeville Elementary improve their reading and literacy skills, please contact the elementary school at 248-969-1850 for additional information. This week is a Board of Education meeting being held at Clear Lake Elementary School on 2085 West Drainer Road. It's at its usual time of 6:30 for all who would like to attend. There's also a NHS induction at the high school on Tuesday, October 9th, starting at 7. An OMS PTO meeting the next day, held in the OMS Media Center from 7 until 8. Next Friday, all elementary schools in the district are having early dismissals. Remember to see highlights from any of the events around town and schools. Visit our Facebook and YouTube pages where we post all of our segments and games every week. But that about does it for school news this week. Until next time, I'm Alexis Ware.
Do you love local sports? Whether it's Oxford High School or Parks and Rec, you can buy copies of each game. To purchase your copy, call us at 248-628-9658 or give us an email at manager@occtv.org or talk to us at the next game. Hopefully we'll see you there.
What's happening, Wildcat fans? Cody Wright back here with this week's sports report. It's a big weekend for Oxford schools with homecoming coming up, so let's dive right in. Last weekend, boys football took on Clarkston here at home. The boys played well against the Wolves, tough competitors from Clarkston who took the win by the end of the night, 33-28. The boys take on Stony Creek here at home for homecoming this weekend, which we will report on next week. We wish them all the best of luck. Also, girls volleyball has had a great night overall on Thursday, taking down Troy. The freshman team won all 3 of their matches, and we covered JV and varsity. JV winning their first match, but ultimately falling in the second and third by slim margins. Once varsity, though, hit the floor, it was a different story. The girls not letting up, even falling behind over 8 points at one point in the game. But the girls won all 3 matches, and Troy played very well as well, just not well enough. Also, the boys soccer team, who had started out strong with 3 wins, have now fallen short the last 3 games. The scores were very close, but the games just weren't on our side. First, it was West Bloomfield, who we lost to 2-1, and then it was Clarkson, who took us down 4-3, and lastly, it was Avondale, who won with a shutout performance, 1-0. We hope the boys can get it back together and find another winning streak. And lastly, the equestrian team is now headed to states for the 20th consecutive year. The state competition will take place from October 9th through the 13th at the Midland County Fair. The team has earned its trip by winning regionals, competing in showmanship, jumping, and timed events. They earned a total of 352 points, that is in the regional tournament. Over the last 20 years, Oxford has won 4 state titles and has been named reserve state champion 7 times. We wish them all the best of luck in bringing home the 5th title. Anyway, that is going to be all for this week's report. For any more info on these events and more, go to oxfordathletics.org. There's plenty of game breakdowns, statistics, and more all right there. That is oxfordathletics.org. While you're at it, might as well check us out at occtv.org. That is all of our coverage of these events and more can all be found on our YouTube page, which you can access also through the website. Again, that is occtv.org. And that's all for this week's report. I want to thank you all for watching and remind you to tune in next time. But until then, I'm Cody Wright. Go Wildcats!
Welcome to this edition of Auto Talk. I'm Dave Kenny, and these stories are taken from the publication Automotive News. In our first story, General Motors says it will offer built-in Amazon Alexa auto integration through the infotainment systems of its new vehicles starting early next year. Owners of 2018 and 2019 models will be able to get the voice-controlled virtual assistant added to their vehicles through an over-the-air update, GM and Amazon said. Cadillac, Chevrolet, Buick, and GMC customers will be able to link their Amazon Alexa account to the vehicle and access it through voice command button on the steering wheel or through an icon on the touch screen. Vehicles must be from 2018 or newer and have a compatible infotainment system. Alexa powers Amazon devices such as the Echo and Echo Show. It plays music, provides real-time information, serves as a home automation system, and more. GM owners will be able to access standard Alexa capabilities, and GM eventually can create custom skills relevant to the customer's vehicle, GM and Amazon said in a statement. Some in-vehicle technologies have failed to impress consumers, however. A 2018 study by the AAA Foundation for Traffic Safety found that infotainment systems developed by tech companies are less distracting than many vehicles' built-in infotainment systems. The partnership is the broadest rollout of an embedded Alexa auto experience, GM and Amazon said. Last year, Amazon released the Alexa Auto Software Development Kit, which gave automakers and suppliers a way to integrate Alexa's core functions into in-vehicle infotainment systems. GM is the first to install Alexa in its vehicles through the kit, an Amazon spokesman said. The GM integration relies on onboard connectivity, so Alexa is fully integrated without an outside app, the spokesman said. GM owners who have a data plan, that is, and an Alexa account will be able to scan a code to link their accounts with their vehicles. GM owners can also use Alexa for basics such as checking the news or adding items to their Amazon shopping carts. They also can control smart devices at home, such as lights or a thermostat, or navigate to an address or point of interest, such as a nearby dealership or coffee shop. Alexa integrates with the vehicle's embedded navigation system or OnStar's turn-by-turn navigation system. Drivers can also make phone calls through Alexa and play music, podcasts, or audiobooks. The integration is the latest phase of GM and Amazon's partnership. In 2018, GM launched in-car delivery with Key by Amazon and a series of connected car skills for Alexa. Connected car skills include in-home commands for the vehicle, and for example, a GM owner could start the car and start defrosting the windshield on a winter's morning. Within vehicle integration, the scenario is flipped. Drivers can access their home thermostat from the vehicle. And at Toyota is preparing to launch the second generation of its Mirai fuel cell car next year, Chairman Takeshi Uchiyamada said. The executive was speaking at an international ministerial meeting of hydrogen energy in Tokyo. Toyota launched the first iteration of the Mirai sedan in late 2014 as the first mass-market hydrogen fuel cell car. Toyota expects the price of the fuel cell cars to match those of hybrids within 10 years, the automaker's European head of sales and marketing, Matt Harrison, told Automotive News Europe Congress earlier this year in Gothenburg, Sweden. By the third generation, we fully expect fuel cell costs to be compatible with hybrids, Harrison said. We believe that fuel cell vehicles have a huge potential, he said. And on the recall front, Nissan is recalling 1.2 million vehicles in the US, Canada, South Korea, and Israel over non-compliant rear visibility camera display systems. The recall, submitted September 12th, affects certain 2018 and 2019 Nissan Altima, Frontier, Kicks, Leaf, Maxima, Murano, NV, NV200, Pathfinder, Rogue, Rogue Sport, Sentra, Titan, and Versa vehicles, and Infiniti Q Series vehicles are also affected by the recall. Drivers could adjust rear-view camera display settings to the degree that the image is no longer visible and the system display would not return to the required default image when the vehicle is shifted into reverse, NHTSA documents said. Nissan Group has notified NHTSA and Transport Canada that it is recalling certain model year 2018 and 2019 Nissan and Infiniti vehicles in the US and Canada, in addition to South Korea and Israel, to remedy a technical non-compliance by updating the rear visibility system, a spokesman for Nissan told Automotive News. Nissan Group will update the rear visibility system software to remedy the situation. Nissan will begin notifying customers October 21st. Well, that's it for this edition of Auto Talk. I'm Dave Kenny, and as always, may the wind be at your back as you cruise down life's highways.
We here at OCTV cover the local events and government meetings of Oxford, Addison, and Leonard. We also produce and edit programs for you viewers out there. With the leadership of our station manager, Bill Service, we have been a very successful team, winning awards from the state of Michigan for Best Electronic Media, giving attention to our local veterans. We also won awards for excellence in directing and educational programs. With the help of our great new equipment and our technical directors, we write, produce, and broadcast our local news for you. Without our production manager, Terry Stiles, our channel and station wouldn't be the well-oiled machine it is today. She coordinates the editing assignments and shoot schedule with our editors and camera people. OCTV and its communities make a great team.
News.